While my son was helping clear plates at Christmas, my sister filmed him and posted, "Guess who the future cleaner is?" My parents replied with laughing emojis. I took my coat and left with my kid. The next morning my sister texted, "My rent transfer didn't go through, fix it." I replied with, "I never thought a family Christmas dinner could turn my entire life upside down, but here we are. And honestly, I'm still shaking as I tell you this." So picture this. December 25th, my parents' house, the smell of roasted turkey filling the air, everyone's stuffed and happy. My son Tyler, he's 7, the sweetest kid you'll ever meet. He sees me starting to clear the table and jumps up to help. "I got it, Mom," he says with this proud little smile. My heart just melted right there. But then I noticed my sister Brooke holding up her phone, pointing it right at Tyler, recording him as he carefully stacked plates, his little hands barely able to hold 3 at once. I thought maybe she was just capturing a sweet family moment, you know? Kids helping out, that kind of thing. I went back to the kitchen with my arms full of dishes. 20 minutes later my phone started blowing up. Do you know that feeling when your stomach just drops? When you know something's wrong before you even look? I opened Instagram and there it was. Brooke had posted a video of Tyler, my baby, carrying those plates. And the caption? "Guess who the future cleaner is?" Broom face with tears of joy. I stood there in my parents' kitchen staring at my phone and I swear I couldn't breathe. The comments were already rolling in. Brooke's friends laughing, making jokes. But what killed me, what absolutely destroyed me, was seeing my own parents had commented. Both of them. Laughing emojis. Just, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. My dad, who's supposed to protect Tyler. My mom, who told me she's so proud to be his grandmother. They thought it was funny to mock a 7-year-old for being helpful. I walked back into the dining room. Brooke was on her phone, smirking. My parents were having coffee like nothing had happened. Tyler was in the living room playing with the toy firetruck Santa had brought him, completely oblivious. "Take it down," I said. My voice was shaking. Brooke looked up, all innocent. "What?" "The video. Take it down. Now." She rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes at me. "Oh my God, it's just a joke, Claire. Why are you always so sensitive?" "It's not a joke. That's my son. Delete it." My mom chimed in then. "Honey, don't make a scene. It's Christmas." Brooke didn't mean anything by it. Didn't mean anything by it? She called my 7-year-old a future cleaner and posted it for hundreds of people to see. Like helping his mother was something to be ashamed of. Like hard work is something to mock. And you know what really gets me? I'm a single mom. I've been busting my tail for 3 years since Tyler's dad walked out, working as a medical secretary, making sure my son has everything he needs. I taught him to be helpful, to be kind, to pull his weight. And here's my own family turning that into a punchline. I asked them again, all of them, to have Brooke take it down. My dad sighed like I was the problem. "You're overreacting. Everyone knows Brooke's sense of humor." That's when something in me just snapped. I looked at Tyler's innocent face as he vroomed his firetruck across the carpet. I thought about him seeing that video someday. I thought about the message it sends, that kindness is weakness, that helping others makes you lesser. I put down my coffee cup very carefully. I walked to the living room and said, "Tyler, baby, get your coat. We're going home." "But Mom, it's still early. Grandpa said we could watch Elf." "Not tonight, sweetheart. Come on." My parents stood up. "Claire, you're being ridiculous." I didn't even look at them. I bundled Tyler into his winter coat, grabbed my purse, and we walked out. Tyler asked questions the whole drive home and I had to keep my voice steady, keep smiling, tell him everything was fine even though my hands were gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Do you think I overreacted? Because part of me wondered if maybe I had. Maybe I should have just let it go, kept the peace. But then the next morning happened. My phone buzzed at 8:47 a.m. A text from Brooke. "My rent transfer didn't go through, fix it." I stared at that message for a full minute. See, here's something I haven't told you yet. Something that makes this whole thing so much worse. For the past 1.5 years I've been paying half of Brooke's rent. Yeah, you heard that right. And what happened next? Well, let me just say, the help quit. But that's when things got really interesting. So there I was, staring at Brooke's text like it was written in a foreign language. "My rent transfer didn't go through, fix it." Not, "Please." Not, "Hey, sorry to bother you." Just a demand. Like I'm her personal ATM. And maybe I would have been that person yesterday. Maybe yesterday Claire would have apologized, scrambled to check her bank account, and sent the money immediately just to keep everyone happy. But yesterday Claire hadn't watched her sister humiliate her son on social media while their parents laughed. My fingers were shaking as I typed back, "The help quit." I hit send before I could chicken out. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. My phone rang. Brooke. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. Then the text started flooding in. What the hell does that mean? Claire, this isn't funny. My rent is due in 3 days. Are you seriously going to be petty over a joke? I turned my phone face down and made Tyler breakfast. My hands were still trembling as I poured his cereal, but there was this weird feeling in my chest. Not quite satisfaction, but something close to it. Like I'd finally stood up after being bent over for way too long. You think I did the right thing? Or should I have just kept being the family doormat? Here's the thing nobody tells you about being the responsible one in the family. You become everyone's safety net and they start to expect it. They start to demand it. Brooke is 28, 2 years younger than me. She works part-time at a boutique, or at least she's supposed to. Half the time she calls in sick, to go to brunch with her friends or spend the weekend in the Hamptons with whatever guy she's dating. Her rent in Brooklyn is $1,800 a month, and I've been covering $900 of it since she, temporarily, needed help after losing her previous job. That was 18 months ago. Me. I'm working 45 hours a week, raising Tyler alone, living in a modest apartment in Queens that costs less than what I pay for Brooke's place. I clip coupons. I buy Tyler's clothes at Target. We haven't had a real vacation since he was 4. But Brooke gets Brooklyn brunch and designer handbags. My phone kept buzzing. I ignored it while Tyler and I built a Lego city on the living room floor. He was chattering about his fire truck, completely happy, and I realized, this is what matters. Not my parents' approval. Not keeping Brooke comfortable. This, my kid. Our little life. Around noon my mom called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Claire Elizabeth, what is going on? Her voice had that tight, controlled tone she uses when she's angry but trying to sound reasonable. Brooke is very upset. She says you're refusing to help her with rent. I'm not refusing, Mom. I'm just not doing it anymore. Don't be ridiculous. You can't just abandon your sister. Like she abandoned common decency when she publicly mocked my son? Silence. Then, that video was harmless. You're being oversensitive and now you're punishing Brooke for it. That's not fair, Claire. I laughed. Actually laughed. You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that I work myself to the bone while Brooke parties? Is it fair that I've paid almost $16,000 toward her rent while I'm trying to save for Tyler's college fund? You make more money than she does. Because I show up to work. Because I'm responsible. When does that stop being a punishment, Mom? My mother's voice went cold. Your father and I are very disappointed in you. Family helps family. That's how we raised you. Yeah, well, maybe you should have raised Brooke the same way. I hung up. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Tyler looked up from his Legos. You okay, Mommy? Yeah, baby. Mommy's perfect. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember how I mentioned that throughout all of this I had support? Someone who actually had my back. My phone rang again, and this time I smiled when I saw the name. Aunt Linda. My dad's older sister and the only person in the family who's ever called out my parents on their favoritism. She lives in Portland, Oregon, but we talk every week. I heard you finally grew a spine, she said when I answered. Your mother called me absolutely hysterical. I'm so proud of you I could cry. I actually did cry then. Just a little. Did I do the right thing, Aunt Linda? Everyone's acting like I'm the villain here. Honey, you've been the family ATM and emotional punching bag for years. The only villain here is whoever convinced you that setting boundaries makes you selfish. We talked for an hour. She told me stories I'd never heard. How my parents had always babied Brooke, how even as kids, I was expected to be the responsible one while Brooke got away with everything. How Aunt Linda had tried to talk to them about it years ago and got frozen out for 6 months. What do I do now? I asked. You stand firm. And Claire? It's going to get worse before it gets better. She was right about that. Because that evening Brooke showed up at my door. And she wasn't alone. What do you think happened when I opened that door? Let me just say, I wasn't prepared for what came next. When I opened my apartment door at 6:30 that evening, I expected to see Brooke with her usual pout, ready to guilt-trip me into submission. What I didn't expect was Brooke standing there with my mother. Both of them looking at me like I'd committed murder. Can we come in? My mom asked, already stepping forward. I blocked the doorway. Tyler's doing homework. This isn't a good time. This will only take a minute, Brooke said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. We just need to clear up this little misunderstanding. Little misunderstanding. Right. I let them in because, honestly, I didn't want my neighbors hearing whatever was about to go down. Tyler was at the kitchen table with his math worksheet, and I asked him to go play in his room for a bit. Is Grandma staying for dinner? He asked hopefully. My mom didn't even look at him. Not tonight, sweetheart. The second Tyler's door closed, Brooke turned on me. I need that money, Claire. My landlord is threatening to evict me if I don't pay by Friday. Then I guess you'd better figure it out. Get more hours at work. Ask your boyfriend to help. But I'm done. My mother stepped forward. Claire, be reasonable. Where is Brooke supposed to come up with $900 in 3 days? The same place I come up with it every month, Mom. Work. Brooke's face went red. You're really going to let me become homeless over a stupid video? You're not going to be homeless. You're just going to have to be an adult for once in your life. That's when my mom dropped the bomb. Fine, she said, pulling out her checkbook. If you're going to be selfish about this, I'll cover it myself. Something cold settled in my stomach. You'll what? I'll pay Brooke's rent. Since you've apparently forgotten what family means. I stared at her, then at Brooke's smug little smile, and something clicked. You have money to give her $900 just like that? Your father and I have savings. No. My voice came out sharper than I intended. You have savings. You've always had savings. So why have I been paying Brooke's rent for 18 months when you could have helped her? My mother's face went tight. That's different. You offered. I offered to help temporarily. And you let me keep paying month after month when you could have stepped in at any time. Do you see what I'm getting at? This whole time my parents had money. They watched me struggle, watched me sacrifice, and never once offered to help either of us. Brooke crossed her arms. Oh, here we go. Everything's always so hard for Claire. Shut up. I surprised myself with how calm I sounded. I want to know something, Mom. How much do you have in savings? That's none of your business. How much? My mother and Brooke exchanged a look. A quick, guilty look that told me everything. We have enough, my mom said stiffly. Enough for what? Enough to have helped me when Tyler's dad left and I was working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on? Enough to have covered Brooke's rent yourselves instead of letting me do it. Silence. That's what I thought. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Claire. Get it. You can write Brooke all the checks you want, but you don't get to come into my home and make me feel guilty for having boundaries. They left, but not before my mother turned at the door and said, You're going to regret this. After they were gone, I stood there shaking. Tyler came out of his room. Did Grandma leave because of me? Because of the plates? My heart broke. No, baby. No. This has nothing to do with you. Come here. I held him while he cried, and I promised myself that he would never, ever think kindness was something to be ashamed of. But here's where it gets really interesting. The next day I did something I probably shouldn't have. I was angry, I was hurt, and I wanted answers. I called my parents' bank. Now before you judge me, yes, I know this was crossing a line. But I'm also on their account. They added me years ago as an emergency contact back when my dad had that health scare and they never took me off. I logged into the online banking. And what I found. God, what I found made everything make sense in the worst possible way. My parents didn't just have savings. They had over $127,000 in their account. $127,000. While I'd been paying $16,000 toward Brooke's rent. While I'd been working overtime and skipping meals to make sure Tyler had everything he needed. But that's not even the craziest part. I started scrolling through the transaction history and my hands started shaking again. Because I found regular transfers to Brooke. Not just recently, for years. 200 here, 500 there, occasionally 1,000. They'd been supplementing her income this entire time. While telling me I needed to help her because family helps family. While watching me struggle. While never offering me a single dollar. I sat there staring at my laptop screen and something inside me just broke open. Not in a bad way. In a clarifying way. They'd been using me. Using my sense of responsibility, my guilt, my desperate need for their approval. They'd been funding Brooke's lifestyle while making me think I was her only lifeline. Imagine what I decided to do with this information. Because let me tell you what happened next. My family never saw it coming. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, scrolling through years of bank transactions, and with every dollar amount I saw I got angrier. And clearer. See, anger can be a gift if you use it right. Can show you exactly where you've been letting people walk all over you. By 3 in the morning I had a plan. I know what you're thinking, was I really going to use their banking information against them? And honestly, I wasn't sure yet. But I was going to do something. I was done being the family punching bag. The next morning I took a personal day from work and dropped Tyler off at my friend Jessica's house. I need to handle some family stuff, I told her. She knew enough to just hug me and tell me to take all the time I needed. Then I drove to my parents' house. My dad answered the door in his bathrobe, coffee in hand. Claire, what are you doing here? We need to talk. All 3 of you. Your mother's still sleeping. Wake her up. And call Brooke. Tell her to get here in the next hour. Something in my voice must have convinced him because he didn't argue. just nodded and shuffled back inside. I sat in their living room, the same room where we'd had Christmas dinner 4 days ago, and waited. My heart was racing but my hands were steady. I had my laptop bag with me and inside was a printed spreadsheet I'd made at 4 in the morning. Brooke arrived first, rolling her eyes the second she saw me. What now, Claire? Come to apologize. Sit down. My parents came in together, my mom looking annoyed. This better be important. Your father has a golf game at 10. It's important. I pulled out my laptop and the printed spreadsheet. I want to talk about money. My dad sighed. Claire, if this is about Brooke's rent again, it's about all of it. Every dollar. Every lie. I turned my laptop around so they could see the screen. Their bank account. Their transaction history. My mother went pale. How did you had no right. I'm on the account, Mom. Remember? Emergency contact. I pulled out the spreadsheet. So I did some math. Since 2019, you've given Brooke over $48,000. Little transfers here and there. Sometimes big ones. Christmas bonuses. Emergency funds. Should I go on? Brooke's face went from smug to shocked. She clearly didn't realize I'd find out the exact amounts. Meanwhile, I continued, my voice getting stronger, I've paid $16,000 toward her rent alone. Not counting the times I've bought her groceries, paid for her car repairs, or covered her phone bill when she forgot. You offered to help, my mom started. Because you told me she was desperate. You told me she had nobody else. I stood up and I swear I felt 10 feet tall. You have $127,000 in savings, and you let me drain my account month after month to help your favorite daughter. The room went dead silent. My dad cleared his throat. Now Claire, that's not fair. Not fair. You want to talk about fair, Dad? I pulled out another piece of paper. When Tyler's father left, I asked you for a loan. Just $5,000 to cover our rent and security deposit for a new apartment. You remember what you told me? He looked away. You said you didn't have it. That times were tight. That I needed to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. My voice cracked but I kept going. I was sleeping on Jessica's couch with a 4-year-old and you told me no. But 3 months later, you gave Brooke $8,000 for a business opportunity that never happened. Brooke jumped up. That's different. I had a real plan. You bought a timeshare in Miami with your boyfriend. I saw the transaction notes. My mother's voice was ice cold. You had no right to snoop through our finances. And you had no right to manipulate me for years. I was shaking now, but not with fear. With rage. With relief. With the sheer weight of finally saying everything I'd been holding in. Do you even realize what you've done? I've been skipping meals to make sure Tyler has everything he needs. I've been working overtime until I'm exhausted. I've been feeling guilty every single day for not doing enough, and you've been lying to me this entire time. My dad stood up. Claire, you're being dramatic. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare tell me I'm being dramatic. Tyler asked me yesterday if Grandma left because of him. Your 7-year-old grandson thinks he did something wrong because you laughed at him being helpful. He cried himself to sleep wondering if you hate him. My mom's face finally showed something. Maybe regret, maybe just discomfort. We don't hate Tyler. Then act like it. Stop treating him like he's less important than Brooke's social life. You think I went too far? Because in that moment I didn't care anymore. Brooke was crying now, real tears, not her usual manipulation. You're making me sound like some kind of monster. You posted a video mocking a child. My child. For being kind. And you expected me to pay your bills the next day. I looked at all 3 of them. I'm done. I'm done paying for Brooke. I'm done begging for your approval. I'm done pretending this family treats me fairly. So what? My mom snapped. You're just going to cut us off? No. I closed my laptop. I'm going to give you a choice. That got their attention. Here's what's going to happen. 1. Brooke deletes that video and posts a public apology. 2. You all go to family therapy with me. Real therapy, not just one session where you pretend to listen. 3. Mom and Dad, you pay me back the $16,000 I spent on Brooke's rent. Absolutely not, my mother started. I'm not finished. 4. You start treating Tyler with respect. He's your grandson. Act like it. And 5. We establish actual boundaries. I'm not your aim. I'm not your emotional support animal. I'm your daughter and Tyler is your grandson and we deserve better. My dad laughed, actually laughed. And if we refuse? Then you don't see us anymore. Tyler and I will be just fine without you. The silence that followed was deafening. Do you think I was bluffing? Because honestly in that moment I wasn't sure myself. But what happened in the next few seconds changed everything. My phone rang. Aunt Linda. I answered, putting it on speaker without thinking. Hey Aunt Linda. Claire, honey, I need you to sit down. Her voice was shaking. I just got a call from your Uncle Robert's lawyer. He passed away last week. My heart sank. Uncle Robert was Aunt Linda's ex-husband, my dad's younger brother. We hadn't been close, but still. I'm so sorry, I said. There's more. Aunt Linda took a breath. He left a will. Claire. He left something to you and Tyler. Everyone in the room was staring at me now. What do you mean? I asked. He left you his house in Vermont and a trust fund for Tyler's education. Honey, it's worth almost $300,000. The room started spinning. And that's when my family's faces changed completely. What do you think they did next? Let me tell you, watching them scramble was almost worth everything I'd been through. The second Aunt Linda said $300,000, my family's faces completely changed. My mother's mouth fell open. My dad stood straighter. Brooke looked like she'd been slapped. I was still trying to process it. Uncle Robert barely knew me. We'd seen him maybe 5 times in my life. Why leave me anything? Claire. Aunt Linda's voice pulled me back. You there? Yeah, I don't understand. Robert called me 6 months ago, asked about you and Tyler. I told him how hard you were working, doing it all alone. He wanted to help family who actually deserved it. I had to sit down. My mother rushed over immediately. Oh, sweetheart, what wonderful news. Uncle Robert always had such a good heart. You called him a reclusive weirdo at Thanksgiving. She blinked. Well, family is family, Claire. There was that phrase again, but only when there's something in it for them. My dad cleared his throat. You'll need help managing this. Your mother and I have experience with investments. No. Claire, be reasonable. I said no. I grabbed my laptop bag. Aunt Linda, I'll call you back. After I hung up, I could see it happening, the recalculation. The realization that I didn't need them anymore. Brooke pulled out her phone. I'll delete the video right now. Gone. I'll post an apology. Don't bother. I don't want an apology because you're scared. I want one because you understand what you did was wrong. My mother tried again. We're still family. We love you and Tyler. Do you? Because love isn't laughing at a child for being helpful. Love isn't lying about money while watching me struggle. What do you think I should have done? Forgiven them right there? Here's what's happening, I said. Tyler and I are going to Vermont next week to see Uncle Robert's house. You 3 need to think about what kind of relationship you actually want with us. You can't just leave, Brooke started. Watch me. When you're ready to actually change, not just pretend for money, you know where to find me. I was halfway to my car when my dad called out. Claire, wait. He was standing on the porch looking old and tired for the first time. What you said about Tyler crying. Was that true? The fact that he had to ask broke my heart. Every word. He nodded slowly. I'm sorry. We failed you both. It wasn't enough. But it was something. Then do better, I said. Therapy. Boundaries. Respect. You want to be in our lives? Prove it. The next few weeks were beautiful chaos. The Vermont house was perfect. 3 bedrooms, 5 acres, mountain views. Tyler's trust fund meant college fully paid for and more. I cried when I saw it. For Uncle Robert, who barely knew me but saw me anyway. For Tyler's future. For finally being free. Brooke texted apologies mixed with complaints. I didn't respond. My mother called once, asking if I was really going to throw away our relationship. I told her I wasn't throwing it away. I was just done being the only one holding it together. But my dad surprised me. 3 weeks later, he showed up at my door. Alone. I found a therapist. For your mother and me. We start next week. He handed me a paper. And I talked to Brooke. She's looking for a real full-time job. We're cutting her off unless she gets it together. It's not enough, he said before I could speak. I know. But I'm trying. I didn't let him in that day. But I didn't slam the door either. Keep going to therapy. Show me you mean it. Then we'll talk. Tyler and I moved to Vermont in April. My job went remote. His new teacher sent a note after the first week. Tyler is the most helpful, kind student I've had in years. Happy tears. My parents are still in therapy. Dad calls every Sunday. Mom joined him last month. It's awkward, but it's progress. Brooke got a marketing job, works 40 hours a week, pays her own rent. She sent Tyler a birthday card with a real apology inside. Last week, Dad asked about visiting for Thanksgiving. I said maybe. We'd see. Because boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. And people who really love you will knock instead of demanding you leave them open. Tyler and I are happy. We hike mountains, have movie nights, and he tells me about his new friends every day. And when he helps clear dinner dishes, I tell him how proud I am. Not for being helpful, though I am. But for being exactly who he is. Kind, thoughtful, Perfect. And no one will ever make him feel ashamed of that again. So that's my story. My messy, complicated journey to finally standing up for myself and my son. Was I too harsh? Should I have forgiven them sooner? I don't know. But Tyler and I are better off than we've ever been. If you enjoyed this, I'd love a like. And if something resonated, or if you think I messed up, please share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. Thank you for listening, for being here, for letting me share the hardest and best decision I ever made. Thank you for watching.